So the news rundown, we have a standing news topic since we started this show in Melvin Gordon. Now he says he's going to be back. How does that impact Austin Eckler's fantasy production, especially with Justin Jackson out? Will Melvin Gordon take the number one spot? What do you feel about that, Nick?
So I brought this up last week, actually. I did a fun game with Matt Williams on our Daily Blitz show, and it was a buy low or sell high game. And I came to Austin Eckler, and the two guys I was doing it with called me crazy because I told you to sell Austin Eckler when he was the second best running back in fantasy football. And there was your perfect opportunity. At this point, now you're holding on to Eckler. You can't get them as much value out of him. We all knew Gordon was coming back. Gordon wasn't going to hit free agency if he didn't play by week 6 or something. There was no reason for him not to come back. All he was doing was preserving his body as much as he could for this year so that he can stay relevantly healthy, hopefully. Now I don't think that Austin Eckler is going to be a top 12 fantasy running back moving forward. He still needs to be owned. He still needs to be rostered. He's still a good bye-week fill-in if need be, because I don't know how long it's going to take for Melvin Gordon to get back to his primitive role that he had with Los Angeles, if he ever gets back to it, if they want that. Now, as the Chargers, they easily could just say, we're giving you nothing but the rock over and over and over and over again, and that would diminish Eckler's chances in any way, shape, or form to be any fantasy relevant at all. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to still see Austin Eckler for the next 4 weeks. But just understand, if you can ship him, I'm shipping him. I don't have a lot of faith in him moving forward.
Yeah, I'm not too excited about this split for either one of them, and I'm a Austin Eckler owner in 2 leagues and a Melvin Gordon owner since a few years back in a dynasty team where I also, of course, picked up Eckler. So I'm not too excited about this. In my Gordon team, I would have been more excited if Eckler would have just been terrible, because then it would have been super easy to just, Eckler is shit now, let's put in Melvin Gordon when he comes back. But now you can't justify, as a team, as the Chargers, you can't justify benching Austin Eckler and just giving the football to Melvin Gordon 30 times a game, because you have this guy who's put up more stats than Gordon ever did in a 3-game span. And you're playing the freaking Miami Dolphins this week, so I'm not expecting Austin Eckler to be terrible. But I see Chauncey TV bringing something up that I wanted to bring up here on the chat. By the way, Chauncey, always a pleasure to see you. And he touched on something, or she, I'm not sure, but the TV touched on something that I wanted to touch on, and is, would you play Melvin Gordon on Sunday if he is to be considered limited? Carlton, are you playing Melvin Gordon this Sunday, or are you holding on?
So here's the thing. So Anthony Lynn came out, the head coach for the Chargers. He said that Gordon's going to be RB1, right? It's tough for me to ever trust a running back coming off of that long of a holdout, that long of being away from the team. Things happen. Hammies get pulled. Things get tweaked. You just don't know. It's hard to keep up with that football shape. So I'm holding on. I'm going to give it a week, I think, to see if Gordon, what his workload looks like. Eckler, I think, still has a role in that offense. Like, even last year, you could look like he still has a nice third down, carved out PPR flex type of role. He's not going to be that RB1, RB2 that he was. That's obvious. But I think I would hold on to Eckler more than Gordon in this case, because I just feel like a couple weeks in, we might see something happen with Gordon, not wishing any injuries on anybody. But I could just see, down the road, longevity-wise this season, I see Eckler still finishing higher than Gordon finishes, obviously, excluding, the first 3 weeks. So I'm going to pause on Gordon for maybe a week to see what that offense looks like once he comes back. But it doesn't look like they're going to teach him a lesson. It looks like they're going to throw him right back out there and feed him to death. So you could do worse. The running back depth is kind of sucks right now. So it's hard to find people better than him. So if you've been holding on to him, it's hard to tell people not to put him in there, because some people have been patient.
Yeah, but I'm gonna, as I said, that I'm an owner of both of them in one league, and I'm an Eckler owner in another. I'm definitely starting Eckler this week. I don't expect Gordon to. They have no reason this week to throw him in there for more than 5 touches. There's 5 to 8 touches. Ooh. There's no reason for them to use him that way. Get him into football shape a little bit. Let him practice for more than 2-3 days, and see what you have next week. There's no reason to rush him against the Dolphins at all, football
But
wise. For fantasy or for, it looking good, sure, but are you willing to risk a guy that potentially will help you get into the playoffs later on in the season to beat the Dolphins by 20 more points? I
yeah, I
don't
was
know.
gonna say that too, Carl. You made a good point right there. It's the Dolphins, man. Like if there is a time to let him get out there and shine a little bit, it's against the Dolphins. I don't think he needs too much prep to get a red zone carry here and there. So he might punch a touchdown or two in. I wouldn't be shocked.
To be
Yeah,
honest,
I can see him get a
someone
touchdown, but I don't think too many yards.
someone to keep an eye on for like DFS and whatnot too is with Justin Jackson going out down on with a boot. Tremaine Pope could be a very good DFS play, and I say that because if Justin Jackson's not playing and Melvin Gordon's limited, Austin Eckler, they're playing Miami and they're going to be up by 21 in the first quarter. They're not going to want to risk anything with him. All of a sudden, Tremaine Pope comes in, the fourth-string running back right now for Los Angeles. He could be a sneaky DFS play going probably for, I don't know, $1,000. I don't know how much DFS plays, but I'm just saying keep that in mind if you guys play daily at all.
Yeah, remember Tony Pollard last week? He outscored not Melvin Gordon, Ezekiel Elliott against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Even though yours truly was 3 points away from 20K in DFS last
Ooh.
week. So I'm just saying maybe
Ship.
listen to the guy in the middle on the show just a little bit more than the guys on the side. Just a little bit more.
Hey, Carl, here's the thing though. See the guy on the left. If you would have played Aguilar, I think
Oh,
got that 20K. I'm just saying. I don't know if we want to
if
do
I
that.
would have listened to Carlton about the Aguilar pick over John Ross, this show would have been canceled. It would have just been me living large, not even 20K. That would have been like
20K.
200K. 200K.
Wow.
Cancel the show? No, I would have kept doing the show.
Wow.
We have a couple of questions before we touch the next news. Yeah, money everywhere, Nick.
Weekly giveaway.
Before we touch the next topic, we have Kevin Garcia. Would you go Woods, Emmanuel Sanders, or Demarcus Robinson? While I get my stats up on the on my spreadsheets, Nick, what do you think about those three? We got Robert Woods, Emmanuel Sanders, or Demarcus Robinson.
All right, Woods, Sanders, Robinson, right?
Yes, sir.
It's as much as, pardon me, Woods seems to be like the main play here. I'm not buying into Emmanuel Sanders, especially his first couple games. Really, I'm just not buying into Joe Flacco. I don't, and who they got this week, Jacksonville. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Wait, did you just mention Emmanuel Sanders?
Yeah, isn't that what you said?
Yeah, just hold on for 1 second.
Uncomebackable.
I just did a sound drop of you saying uncomebackable.
Uncomebackable. Yes.
Every time you mention Emmanuel Sanders, that drop will come. I know you can hear it. That's why I had to pause you.
Uncomebackable. I love it. And that's what he did. But now I'm not buying into him coming back at all. Just for the simple fact, Joe Flacco. Robert Woods has been playing second fiddle to Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks. He's playing third fiddle. Like he's not the Robert Woods that we hoped we were going to see. For me, at least, I thought it would take Cooper Kupp a little bit more time to come into his own again after the ACL injury, and we would see a little bit more of a bump up in Woods' production in the beginning of the season, see it tail off, or tinker off at the tail end of the season. Excuse me. So for me, I'm going with this Lions secondary to give up a lot of points. This is the first game Patrick Mahomes has played indoors in the NFL, and Kyle Brandt, host of GMFB, said it perfect. That's like putting Leo on Tinder. Like, he's going to have a freaking phenomenal field day, dude. He's going to tear up Detroit. And I don't even know if Slay's playing. I hope he is. But even if Slay's playing, he's not going to be worried about Robinson. Cole, Robinson, Sammy, Kelsey, they're all in my starting lineups this week. Like Detroit, as much love as I have in them, and I hope we win the game. I doubt we do. Obviously, I'm a realist. But no matter what, we're going to see a flip ton of points scored. So give me DeMarcus all day.
Would that be the biggest crazy game, like crazy win that could happen? Would it be bigger, doing a little opposite of Nick's picks, would it be crazier in the NFL if the Lions beat the Chiefs or if the Bills beat the Patriots? What would create more of a earthquake effect in the NFL?
What a good question. What a good question. I would probably say the Lions, for the simple fact where if the Bills win, it just gives everyone another reason to start saying, well, this isn't the Patriots' year, and well, Tom Brady's too old, and well, he's blah 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 blah. Where like Kansas City is in the prime right now, right? They're in the prime. So for Detroit, who just never wins any games that they're ever looked at to lose, I don't know. Whenever we play big teams, we can't win. And if we did beat Kansas City, it would be freaking crazy. We're Buffalo. Man, I'm rooting Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo.
Come on,
Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo.
Oh, only 600 people watched that, Carlton.
I know, right?
It was about 550 of them was me because I fucking loved that video. I was laughing my ass off.
Yes, sir.
If you have time, people here on the chat, go to @CSTFantasy on Twitter. Scroll down a little bit, and there's a video of Carlton dancing around after a Bills win. It's hilarious, and I encourage you to view it.
I'll promise this: if the Bills beat the Patriots, this week's video will be 1,000 times better than that. We'll be outside.
Yes.
Just know that things are in the works right now for Sunday if we get a W.
And just to emphasize a little bit more on what Nick said, I too have DeMarcus Robinson projected for the most amount of points with just a little bit more risk than Sanders this week. A little bit lower floor, but I'm okay with that, and especially against the Lions compared to Jacksonville, even though Jacksonville Jaguars and the Detroit Lions have actually given up the same amount of points to wide receivers. I have them ranked extremely even. But I'm going DeMarcus Robinson in this upside pick with the Chiefs. That was Kevin Garcia. Thank you so much for that one.
You guys don't got any love for Robert Woods over there, huh?
No.
Bobby Woods.
Right now.
Last year, he started tough in the first 3 weeks, and he finished top 15. Like, I would not be shocked.
Who got hurt? Who got hurt?
Yeah, I get it. The Cup got. Yeah,
that is huge. Cooper Kupp already 2 100-yard games. Like he's Goff's favorite weapon. You know what I mean? I just feel like, and then Cooks is becoming the second favorite. I just don't think there's enough volume for Cooks or for Woods. Excuse me.
We have in the chat as well Matt Williams saying Dontrell Inman boys DFS gold.
Dontrell Inman, dude. He's pulling out all these freaking 4-string Chargers. He's like, anyone that sits on the bench for the Chargers, they're about to be DFS gold today.
Travis Benjamin. Oh, he won me a game like 3 years ago. Holy crap, he went off.
Yes.
That was one game 3 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, can't remember he doing that ever after that. We have a question from Kyle G as well, but that's a quarterback question, so let's touch on that one a little later with Kyle Allen, Jameis Winston, and Kyler Murray when we get into today's topic, even though we've barely touched the news items. So let's go real quick. You see what Chauncey has. Thanks again, have to log out, but thanks again, and still owe you more promotions, CC, so your viewership is about to go up. Oh, thank you so much. Keep knowledge coming, and shout out to the featured guys for their input. Yeah, you two deserve a lot of props for joining the CSD network, and I'm super excited to have both of y'all on. The last two news items I wanted to touch on is Saquon Barkley is hurt. They say 4 to 8 weeks. I think that sounds a little extreme. I've also heard 4 to 6 weeks. But, Carlton, are you touching Wayne Gallman at all?
I'm definitely touching him, right? But I'm not in love with it. So this is, let's reword that. I'm definitely picking him up.
And English is my second language, but even I heard that was wrong.
You set me up with that one, though, Kurt. That was like an alley. He's like, "Are you touching?" I mean, okay. So
I'm touching him, but damn it, I don't like it.
I don't like it. Here's how I feel about that whole situation. Saquon's a superhero, man. He's gonna beat that timeline. I see him coming back in 4 to 5 weeks and picking up kind of where he left off. Gallman, while the volume's gonna be there, and I love volume, right? I haven't seen enough of him to know what he can do with that volume, and clearly nobody's really in love with him either because he was a rush to get picked up because of the volume. But there's talks about C.J. Anderson possibly coming over there. There's talks about Elijah Penny they just re-signed. So it's people that are going to touch into that target share, into that workload. But if you just want strictly volume, you could do a lot worse for a flex. But I'm just not in love with Galvin.
Yeah,
He doesn't get excited.
Gallman wasn't a fantasy stud before Saquon, and he's not going to be a fantasy stud after Saquon. I think they're going to focus more on the passing game, especially now Golden Tate is about to come back into that offense. That gives them a little bit more leeway. And I think Golden Tate is somebody I will be looking to maybe snag up now that Danny Dimes has taken over. But let's touch on Danny Dimes a little bit later in the show and throw in Nick's face something from last episode again. We're going to keep throwing stuff in your face. We had a discussion about quarterbacks in the superstar club. Dak Prescott was mentioned from my side that I think he deserves to be in the superstar club right now. Nick said no. Sports Illustrated said yes and put him on the freaking cover. That's how big of a star he is. Sports Illustrated, front cover, everything, Dak Prescott, superstar. I think it's even said superstar.
Superstar? Oh, wow.
I definitely need to throw that in Nick's face real quick.
It could be
messing up the stream.
You just got to be the quarterback of the Cowboys, and everyone will call you a superstar. Right. It's not Dak Prescott. Don't get your hopes up.
He's got the star in his helmet.
He's got the star in his helmet, so everyone.
That is true.
He's a superstar.
Comes with it.
And someone else brought up in that segment was Lamar Jackson. I believe, right? Didn't we talk about Lamar Jackson? And I said he is not a superstar yet. If you guys changed your mind yet and decided, he is not a superstar yet, and he's just an upcoming young quarterback, or is he still a superstar in his 8th game?
He's a future superstar.
Yeah, but we're not talking future superstars. We're talking superstars
right now.
Yeah, but in 5 weeks.
He's a superstar right now. Now, me only because if you look at last week, there was not a game I was more excited about, including the Bills, than the Chiefs Ravens for that reason. I wanted to see
what was going to go on.
Yeah, you tuned in, and while he struggled early, at the end he kind of got his stuff together and he made something happen. While he struggled, that's a learning experience for him. So hopefully he learns from it. Hopefully he comes back a little bit stronger. But he's still a must-see quarterback. So I put that in my superstar.
Must-see.
Before we talk even more quarterbacks, let's hear from our sponsor real quick with Prize Picks. So, tired of losing on DFS salary cap? With our friends at Prize Picks, you can turn that fantasy sports knowledge or our fantasy sports knowledge into cold hard cash. No sharks, no endless hours of research. It's just you against the predictions. Just choose over or under correctly on a couple of players' fantasy point prediction to win. And why not use the CSD fantasy projection as your starting point? Use promo code CSD. New members who sign up and make their first deposit get 2 free entry $25 entry picks and 25% first deposit instant match. Prize Pick really is daily fantasy simplified. With that said, our weekly topic is going to be quarterbacks again. So the weekly topic again, just as last week, is quarterbacks due to the fact that we had a bunch of stuff happening on the quarterback position, with Kyle Allen starting for the Carolina Panthers, Danny Dimes coming in and showcasing his abilities for New York Giants, Mason Rudolph showing some things for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, with the quarterbacks, we had a question from Kyle G with Kyle Allen, Jameis Winston, or Kyler Murray, and he needs to pick 2. How do you feel about Kyler, and Jameis, Nick?
Well, I feel like we can't buy into Kyle Allen like what we saw last week, right? Who did he play last week? Tampa Bay, right?
No, that was Danny.
Who did Kyle Allen play? Fresh my memory.
My bad.
Quicker than this. Why can we not Washington?
No.
I'm drawing such a blank.
He played. Was it?
Okay. I got it. He played Arizona, and Arizona sucks. So I'm not taking Kyle Allen. I'm not taking Kyle Allen to continue hit that, but he does play Tampa. He plays. Who's he play this week? God, I can't get any of it. Houston, also pretty rough defense. I'm not buying into it. I think Tampa Bay going against the Rams is going to be really risky for Winston. That leaves Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray going up against who's Kyler Murray play?
The Seahawks.
Thank you. Oh, that's tough too. Fuck it. I'm switching this. I'm going back to Kyle Allen. I think he can trust Kyle. So very good, boys. He's playing against the Texans defense that's rough as shit. And let's go with Kyle Allen. Oh!
Is it Kyle Allen and Jameis Winston? Because you need it too.
Oh, you need two? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was picking one. So Winston or Murray. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. That song is so fun, dude. I wish the Lions had a song. I'm so upset.
It makes you want to be a Bills fan.
It makes me want to be a Bills fan. Just the video. I'm gonna steal it though, and I'm gonna start screaming Detroit in the middle of it.
Let's go Detroit.
Let's go Deej. No, that don't work, does it? All right. No, I'm sitting Winston. Start Kyler Murray over Winston.
Yeah, yep. I'm sitting Winston. I have him predicted for 12.3 points with a 33% risk. That's not too high of a risk, but 12.3 points is just terrible.
And that's pretty favorable.
Wow.
Yeah, but
sounds like
it is the 31st. It is the second worst opponent for quarterbacks so far this year with the Los Angeles Rams. So I'm scared for him, even though I think that Mike Evans is going to put up some numbers again as they figured out that, hey, maybe we should throw the football to our best receiver.
Godwin's a little banged up too, right? Still sitting questionable in the week.
It is true, and we saw what can happen to a fantasy stud when his team remembered that he played for the team on Thursday night. Devontae Adams has been a non-factor in the first 3 games, and they're like, hey, maybe throw the football to our best guy, and 180 yards later, or 50, what was it?
150 at halftime.
158 yards, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was crazy, and then he got hurt. He definitely would have had a touchdown in that game otherwise. But so we got Kyle Allen and Kyler Murray over Jameis Winston. I feel like we all three agree on that one. Is that fair to assume, Carlton?
Absolutely. Yep, I'm with you. I'm benching famous Jameis every chance I get. I'm not touching that guy.
You're not eating the W?
I'm not. Tastes a little stale. I'm not feeling that W.
A little stale. Someone left this bag open.
This W is nah.
This is what happens when we do a show early in the morning.
Yeah, for real. That's just wedding.
But let's talk about Kyle Allen though. Let's get into him.
Let's touch on Kyle Allen a little bit. Are you touching Kyle Allen?
Yes. Well, next week we're gonna find a different word for that one.
Yeah, no, definitely. Are you trying to start Kyle Allen in any of your leagues? Or are you picking him up right now anywhere?
Yeah, I think you should. He's actually in my he's one of my sleeper picks. So I'm looking at Kyle Allen as somebody, and I love quarterbacks named Allen. This Kyle, though, I think is in a good situation when it comes to that offense. It's really showing you that Cam sadly was holding that offense back a lot, right? I think we can all agree on that one. He was banged up, and it looked like he lost a little bit of fire in his eyes. The fire and desire is not there anymore, but Kyle's coming in hungry, and he might make this a situation where if he performs the next 4 weeks or so, you might see Cam maybe getting pushed out a little bit in that situation. And you look at DJ Moore, you look at Curtis Samuel, Greg Olsen. These guys had big weeks last week, and he's spreading the ball around to all these people. And as a fantasy player, you want somebody who's going to do that. You want him to lean on his players, playmakers. So he definitely looks like he does that. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm putting him over. I'm actually playing him over Kyler too, because that matchup is just amazing. Houston has been really soft against passing, so. You got to like the play this week, but going forward, he's on my bench, but I'm not going to start him.
Yeah, they Houston give up the 8th most points to quarterbacks right now. If you take into account the first 3 games and the strength of schedule, if we just analyze what teams have done against quarterbacks and moving forward, he has the 5th easiest schedule of any quarterback in the league, which is very good for a rookie quarterback to come in. And gets not easy matchups. It's never easy in the NFL, but easier matchups than some other quarterbacks.
Tampa Bay in 3 weeks. 49ers, though, in 4 weeks. Titans in 5 weeks. Packers in 6 weeks. So that's a rough stretch, but once you get past that, you got the Falcons, the Saints, the Redskins, the Falcons again. Like a lot of easier matchups, as you said. But Jacksonville next week, and after the good match against Tampa Bay, you got San Fran, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Green Bay. Some tough defenses. Just take that in mind when you're picking them up.
Yeah, he
Absolutely.
might not carry you into the playoffs, but he might get you a couple, maybe a really nice win in a bye week situation.
I filler. There you go.
Yep,
Because
exactly.
that's
Every
something
week.
to take into consideration in fantasy all the time. That the bye weeks, the league you and I are in, Carlton,
Hmm.
people are freaking out that I'm 1-2,
Yeah.
and I'm just waiting for my team to show that I have way more depth than anybody else. Pretty much, I'm very confident that it's gonna show. And then when bye weeks start hitting and people start being a little overreactionary and knee jerky, that's when your depth shows that you just drafted better. The
Yeah.
first 3 weeks, anything can happen. Devontae Adams can put up freaking 2 points in the first game or whatever he did and kill you, and then eventually he starts rolling.
That's
For
what
Mason,
the Dolphins are trying to do the same thing. They're just like, well, listen, guys, once bye weeks start to happen, once there becomes injuries, we have the most depth. It's just week
That's
through
one
three.
thing we got.
of
We got
terrible players, of terrible players. Nobody
so
has more terrible players than the Dolphins.
They have a lot of depth at terrible
keep
players.
rolling them out.
Look at this, we got Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen. Nobody has that many terrible quarterbacks.
No drop off.
Yeah, no drop off. Well, that's hilarious. They're gonna pick up Blaine Gabbert eventually.
Ooh.
Like-
I hope they pick up Jamarcus.
Jamarcus.
Marcus, yes.
Give him another
Let's do a
man.
couple of shout outs and look at some questions before we hit the next quarterback. We got from Kyle G. Thielen, Josh Gordon, or replace one with DJ Chark. What do you feel about that, Carlton?
Give me that one.
Gordon
Mhm.
or Chark?
Ooh, Shark has been balling. I don't know. That's a tough one. Okay, so when I'm thinking of Minnesota's offense, right, I'm really disappointed with how they're using Diggs. So they have been leaning on Thielen. So I got to play Thielen. I got to put him in there. Piece of PPR machine. He's a must. Gordon, and it's this week only, right? We're looking at.
I've figured.
Okay, if it's this week only, I'm actually going to go Thielen and Shark. So I'm sitting Gordon only because that Buffalo secondary, and this is not a homer thing I'm saying here. The secondary is legit, and they're really legit at knocking out the first option for a quarterback. So I'm looking at Trey White shadowing Gordon that whole game. So with safety coverage from Micah Hyde or Poyer probably behind him too as well. So I would actually look more at a Philip Dorsett having a big game than a Josh Gordon this week. But when it comes to Thielen, he's going to – who do the Vikings play again? Vikings are –
Bears.
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 Away
Yeah.
win.
Yeah, see, they are away. But at the same time, Thielen's going to get his. Like, he's going to be – you can see him getting behind and having to kind of come back. And I see – yeah, I'm going Thielen and Shark for sure. Shark, though, he's been fun to watch because he was really slept on. I was high on him coming out of the draft, and he could have been labeled a bust. He has something going right now with my man Gardner up there.
Yeah, he does.
They've really been utilizing his height advantage up there. They're really giving him a lot of jump balls. He's looking good.
Could be too. Like Gardner just throwing it up to him, and he's going and getting it.
I love it.
Get you some.
I love it. The Broncos. How do you feel about Shark against the Broncos? That's kind
That's
of
tough though. I mean, you hit nose on the head. Like you got to start Thielen and Shark over Gordon, just because you're right. Dorsett's about to tear it up.
yeah, it is. I wouldn't be really thrilled about Shark or Gordon this week, to be honest with you. That's kind of where I'm torn at. But I think I would go for the boom of Shark versus, I'm guessing a big bust from Gordon.
Yeah, I'm not too confident about him right now. Just made a mistake with the freaking stream again, so keep talking, Nick, instead. And I'll get the next question up roll well. Sometimes stuff just happens when I'm clicking around to get my projections up, and then you get like a little name tag on your video, which looks terrible.
Read the name tag down below.
Oh yeah, you clicked on it right perfectly.
That's great. I love me some DJ Shark. I got to meet him at the Senior Bowl 2 years ago in Alabama, and man, he's just been on a tear. What, 3 touchdowns, 3 games?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, he's balling, man. He looks good.
What's Jacksonville's strength of schedule moving forward, Carl?
Jacksonville's strength of schedule is funny because I'm having some issues, so I need to bring up freaking Dede Westbrook.
Wow.
My
He's targets, isn't he? I got it right. Well, I don't have the strength.
He's
but-
getting a lot of targets. Westbrook is, but he's
Yeah.
not doing much with them. I've seen him drop a lot. I mean, fantasy wise, I guess you can't really go off drops, but he's
They have the
struggling.
14th easiest schedule, but playing the 28th most difficult opponent for wide receivers right now.
Hmm.
And the strength of the schedule is, of course, catered to the position. So I'm not measuring
Yeah.
easiest schedule in general. I'm just saying easy
Right.
schedule for the wide receiver position. It's the 14th, so it's on
Like
average.
after you get rid of the Jacksonville Denver matchup, you got Carolina, and then the Saints, and then the Bengals, and then
Yeah.
the Jets, and then the Texans.
Woo.
Are you flipping kidding me? Go get Gardner right now. Go get these wide receivers right now. They're about to go on a tear for the next 6 games.
I wouldn't be shocked if Shark finishes top 20, man. Wouldn't be shocked at all.
Me either. Because listen to this: after you get rid of those games, you got the Colts and Titans, some good defenses. But then you got the Bucks, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Falcons. Like these are, man, they got some phenomenal matchups. Looking at the rest of their schedule, outstanding. I'm going to sign every single Jacksonville Jaguar.
Trade offers going for Shark tonight. Oh man,
I love it. Would you rather have Gardner or Kyle Allen moving the rest of the season?
that is one I was actually gonna bring up, man. People are not showing Gardner enough love right now. We're talking about the Rudolphs, Danny Jones, all these people. Gardner's been balling a little bit, man. That mustache has some superpowers in it. I don't know what's going on with it, but I see Nick's. Oh, come on now, got a Minshew fan over there.
I love this
I'm
mania.
just watching this. This is the rabbit hole. Like that's why the name is the way it is. Like, oh, let's just do and then start kissing the screen.
Well, only happens the night after a wedding, so you won't see me kissing the screen too often.
The hangover of love, man. That's what it is. Love hangover.
Let's shout out Dan DiMarino. So happy to see you as always. We got Mellow Fan 1234. Pleasure as always. And
Carmel?
Dan has a bunch of possible flex plays. We're gonna touch on Minshew. That's why I interrupted later because Kyle G have a question about him. So a bunch of flex plays. I can't make up my mind. PPR. I need 2: Stephon Diggs, Wayne Gallman, David Montgomery, and Chris Thompson. So it's PPR. And this leads us into a fantastic segment that we like to call Nick's Picks. I haven't done an intro for this yet, so I'm glad that you pointed as well.
I got it.
Yes. Yeah.
Nick's Picks. So for PPR, he need to pick 2. We got Stephon Diggs, Wayne Gallman, David Montgomery, and Chris Thompson. Would you do Wayne Gallman over Stephon Diggs, Carlton?
Ooh,
Yes or
yes.
no?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Would you do David Montgomery over Stephon Diggs?
Yes.
Wait, did I do Nick? You're the Knicks picks guy. I'm feeling this miserably.
Wow. I was thrown off. I was like, you trust me? Okay.
No, I wanted him to run the show, but I know he can't see the.
No, I don't trust. Go ahead.
The way Nick does it, he knows how to do this.
No,
But I know he can't see the players. You get them down, Nick.
I had Gallman and Diggs, and then
Montgomery and Chris Thompson.
D-Mont and Chris Thompson.
D. Montgomery and Chris Thompson, yes.
So, and I'm picking 2.
You're picking 2.
Diggs for sure. Comeback game, even against Chicago, it does not scare me. You drafted him. I'm going to keep starting him. I'll give him one last week to put up or shut up. I'm not starting Montgomery against Vikings. I don't mind Gallman, but I'll probably go with Chris Thompson as that is just, if you're in PPR, Chris Thompson. If you're in standard, Gallman.
So would you do, for Stephon Diggs, would you do Diggs or Thielen?
Thielen.
Would you do Diggs or Allen Robinson in that matchup as well?
I like the Allen Robinson because Mitch Trubisky can't throw the ball more than 5 yards, and they're putting Allen in the slot so he can be within a 3-yard radius of Trubisky at all times. But I still go Diggs.
Diggs or Taylor Gabriel?
Diggs.
Thank you. I just wanted to throw some shade on Taylor. I'm still pissed about that feud with him I had a bunch of years ago.
Tell them the story, man. People don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I posted on Twitter that Taylor Gabriel as of Atlanta Falcon was nothing but a gadget player, and he got really pissed and sent me a Twitter storm of tweets saying how stupid I was, and I know nothing, and he was gonna tear it up, and then he did something else, and I tweeted him, and yeah, he got mad again. So after that, it was great. I got a lot of attention for it, so it was
That's us.
fantastic.
Never knew that story. That's outstanding, dude.
On the other side of that, the week after, I said something fantastic about Matt Bryant, the kicker, and his wife tweeted me, thanking me for being so nice to her husband.
That's great. No, good. Shout out to Matt Bryant, dude. What a great kicker.
Kickers need love too, man. Yeah,
They do. They do. I
they
love
don't get noticed when they mess up, so that's awesome.
Nick, do you have any other players you want to run down with us in Nick's picks? Any for the quarterback position? Any quarterback that you have questions with, or questions? Any quarterback that you were unsure where we want to rank him?
Uh, no. But here, why don't we do this? Why don't you look at some names and let's throw out a list. Let's throw out some names about who we should start this week for anyone listening and debating, but too scared to throw any questions out while we're talking. Throw out some quarterbacks. I'll tell you which one I'll be starting this week.
Fantastic. I want to do some average quarterbacks because I think that's super fun. Because you're starting Patrick Mahomes, ain't no question about it. But
you're gonna start Pat Mahomes, yes, agreed.
Great start. Case Keenum or Andy Dalton?
I love me some Andy Dalton. I love me the Monday matchup against Pittsburgh. I know they're on the road. This game could become a little bit more of like a run game. I think we're going to see bigger games from Mixon and Connor. But Case Keenum has a great matchup against the Giants, but I'm expecting Dwayne Haskins to step in this game. I know what Jay said about Case, and Case is the guy, but I just can't see Danny Dimes taking a 14-0 lead against Washington and them not bringing in Dwayne Haskins. So I feel like Dwayne Haskins is going to see it make his appearance this week. So I'm going to actually go with Dalton against Pittsburgh. Give you some Monday love too, you know.
I don't want to start Dalton on a national televised game.
Oh.
Carl hates Dalton. I'm convinced after 2 weeks.
No. I actually like him. I like him as an option. I want him to throw to my wide receivers. That's pretty much what I like about him. But and I'm not a Case Keenum fan, but he does have an extremely favorable matchup this week. I think he's not going. I don't think he's going to be benched this time around. The Giants give up 27 points on average to quarterbacks, while Pittsburgh give up 19.7. And the thing is, they're only 5 spots ahead of each other, difference.
Yeah,
So
it's a close match, that's for sure.
Fourth easiest opponent for quarterbacks. Pittsburgh are the 9th, and it's freaking almost 8 points. Well, it's 7.3 points difference. That shouldn't be happening when it's just 5 spots. So that lets you know just how terrible the Giants have been to quarterbacks, even though they've been giving up points to running backs as well. So
wouldn't this be the game that you wanted Dwayne Haskins to come in if you're Washington? Let him get some mojo. Let him get some confidence. Play the shitty Giants defense. This would be the game. What are we doing if you're Washington?
Yeah.
What they're saying is that he's not even ready. He's not even ready to handle the week leading into a game. Is what coming out the news that he's not ready to handle the pressure of the NFL. He's still figuring out how to be an NFL player. What did you draft?
I can't buy into that.
And what did you coach? I don't know. That's tough. Jamarcus.
But it sounds almost a little bit like the I'm gonna butcher because I don't. Is it David Carr, the Big Brother Carr?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he came to Houston. David Carr, when he got to Houston and they were an expansion team, and it was difficult for him to figure out the NFL, and that's how it feels here. And I know I've heard interviews with him later on that if he could go back, he would coach himself to live closer to the practice facility, remember traffic, be a little bit more prepared week in and week out, stuff like that. And like you said, Carlton, what's going on with coaching if you're not coaching this?
Yeah, man.
To me, that organization just feel a little toxic for a rookie quarterback to come in right now. They don't really have any leaders. You can't really call Josh Norman a leader right now. And Trent Williams is still not showing up. Jordan Reed is always out. Adrian Peterson was benched week 1. Who is the leader on that team right now? Kerrigan? Is he the only one?
Adrian. Love it. Honey buns. Go ahead.
So you would go Andy Dalton over
Oh,
Case Keenum.
I
Would you
want
go Philip Rivers against?
How are you not starting Dwayne Haskins just because there's no leader on the team? Because this coach is all screwed up and Jay Gruden needs to be gone? It's ridiculous. You don't need to be starting Case Keenum. The Washington Redskins have been in games. They were damn near going to beat the Eagles. They were getting wollylopped by the Bears and made a comeback. And if Case Keenum himself didn't throw 1,700 interceptions in the first half, that team would have been in that game more relevant than they were. I'm just saying Washington has a good team, a very, very good defense, and a sneaky offense, even without Trent Williams, even with Adrian Peterson on the bench, even with no guys. It's because Case Keenum is not that good of a quarterback that you're losing these games. And if you're a Redskins owner, I hope you're not trying to blow this whole season. You need to go. You need to win. Go put Haskins. I don't care what the fake news around the world wants to say about Dwayne Haskins. The motherfucker can play. Go put him in and let him ride it out. You got Giants, Patriots. That sucks. It doesn't matter if it's Case or Dwayne. You're going to lose that game. But then the Dolphins. You have a winnable game against the Niners, winnable against the Vikings, tough matchup, but winnable against the Bills, winnable Jets, winnable. Like these games, like the Redskins are not out of the season. I think it's just preposterous and idiotic to not start Dwayne Haskins. And I know that's not fantasy. That's just me going off on Jake Gruden.
No, it's fine. And we're going down the rabbit hole of the Redskins rabbit hole. But let's move back to Case Keenum or Philip Rivers. No, not Case Keenum. Andy Dalton or Philip Rivers. Nick, see, this is why you need to be the host of Nick's Picks. I keep messing it up.
I'm way too drunk to be doing that right now.
I felt that.
I still haven't decided.
I felt that.
Phil Rivers playing Miami, right?
Yeah.
Philip Rivers over almost everyone in the entire NFL except for Pat Mahomes.
Whoa.
I got one. Josh Allen or Daniel Jones.
Danny Dimes, just because New England's defense is way better than they're for the best defenses. Gilmore's gonna just shut them down. I'll be shocked if Josh Allen throws for more than 150 yards and runs for more than 50. Like I can't buy into more than 200 total yards for Josh Allen. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I don't see them getting the end zone anytime on Sunday.
Defense. I wouldn't be surprised if that game ends.
It's gonna be a grind out.
17. Freaking 12 or something.
Yeah, I got 20-6. I'm taking the under, and I'm taking the Patriots to cover 7.5. Last 10 times the Patriots played the Bills, they've won by double digits. So I'm pretty sure something like that, or maybe they covered the spread. I can't remember exactly what I was reading a couple days ago. But
doesn't Tom Brady have more wins in Buffalo than any other Buffalo quarterback over the last?
That's a true stat.
He really does though. It's I think 38. Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's crazy.
But that's been Nick's Picks. On the fly a little bit. I promise to have an intro for it next time, and maybe have Carlton sing the intro.
Nick's Picks.
Perfect. I'm gonna sample that sound drop. And we have a comment from MGT earlier that Lamar took a team that Flacco could barely win with and has only lost twice in the regular season. That was with our Lamar Jackson talk. We have. Poker Lemon saying Minnesota isn't going to be passing that much. No, I'm afraid of that too. And we have Mellow fan saying Flash or Gallman in PPR. I'm assuming Flash is Josh Gordon. Or am I? I
mean, that's Melvin Gordon's nickname.
Flash
is thinking that too.
Josh Gordon, Marquise Goodwin's Flash. It's a bunch of people.
Yeah, there's way too many Flashes out there. But who is it against? Flash or who?
Or Gallman.
No, so no matter what Flash you're talking about, you're starting Flash over there.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I don't care if you're talking about Melvin. I don't care if you're talking about Josh. I don't care if you're talking about Marquise.
Yeah, they all can get
it. With Kyle D's question from earlier, would you trade Winston for Minshew? Carlton, how do you feel about that trade? And it was Josh Gordon, by the way. So we're doing Josh Gordon over Gallman in PPR? I'm not so sure about that, actually.
No,
I'm doing Gallman in PPR over Josh
Just
Gordon.
For volume, I'm going Gallman too.
And the Bills defense.
Yeah, I'm going volume. I'm playing Gallman on that one. I can't lie.
I'll be the different one, so next week I can sound smarter than both of these two, and I'll say Josh Gordon.
Mic drop.
I like it. How long is that?
Covering all of our bases, like that's just what the show does.
Yeah, right. How long is Nick Foles out for? Do we know?
Season. He's done.
No,
He's out.
is he?
I don't think it's a season ender.
Romo was back after 8 weeks with a broken collarbone.
I swear to God,
No, he was out for more because he got hurt in the second or first preseason game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was all. It's gonna be 10, 11 weeks with a broken collarbone. Yeah, he's done.
Even if he was coming back tomorrow, I'm still trading Jameis for Gardner. To be honest with you, man. Especially after that schedule that Nick just said. How can you not? Like that favorable schedule for Jacksonville, and I honestly think that Jacksonville's defense is really coming into their own again. Finally, they're getting the ball back into him. I'm going Gardner. Make the trade.
Make the trade. I agree.
Yeah, I don't feel too good about Jameis right
At
now,
all.
to be honest. And Minshew is kind of riding high.
Jameis might get benched if they lose 2 more games.
I heard an interesting thing about
I don't even know.
Blaine Gabbert, I think.
Gabbert.
I'm not even joking about that. I think that's backup. If Blaine Gabbert starts over Jameis Winston, if Blaine Gabbert starts over you, whoever you are, then you know you just need to be a coach.
It's over at that point.
Should you be a coach even?
You got to take the Byron Leftwich route at that point. It's over.
I'm all right with being a coach. You can have bad quarterbacks be good coaches.
Oh, that is true. Look at Kellen Moore.
Yeah, look at Kellen Moore. I was going to say, look at freaking who's their head coach? Why I'm too hungover to think
Jason
right now.
Garrett.
Thank you. I was going to say Jason Garrett. Then I was like, nah, he's not a good coach. Hold on.
The Cowboys have gone the quarterback route. They have Jason Garrett as a head coach, and then they have John Kitna as a quarterback's coach, and Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator.
Kitna was my
guy. With all
quarterbacks everywhere.
Kitna was my guy, man.
Rich Gannon is coaching the defensive ends. They're just like all quarterbacks. That's all we need.
So solid. I like that one.
Tim Tebow doing tight ends.
Tim Tebow is the tight end coach and the strength and training coach for sure. Strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
So he should have always been that.
But not a college player motivator, in my opinion. Anyway, we have some couple more. Dan DeMarino saying, I'm playing Patriots defense this week. Josh Allen's going to be throwing picks left and right, as usual.
Easy.
Killing
None of these picks have been his fault except one.
We have a last question here from Dan DeMarino. I'll notice that we're running a little low on time. So what do we think about the Browns this week? I haven't really thought about them too much, to be honest. As a team, as we're mainly focused with fantasy football, but they're playing the Baltimore Ravens. They're the 10th easiest opponent for wide receivers. So if you're looking to play Jarvis Landry or OBJ, it might be decent. I don't have Landry projected for more than 5.6 points with 38% risk, with a ceiling of 11.6 and only 1% boom chance, meaning scoring above that ceiling. So I'm not too excited about starting Jarvis Landry. How do y'all feel about some of the Browns players for fantasy this week?
Cleveland at Baltimore. The upcoming superstar Lamar Jackson is going to wallylap Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Fantasy-wise, I'm not touching Chubb. I'm not touching Jarvis. I'm not touching Baker. I don't mind OBJ. That's just because OBJ is matchup proof. But Cleveland looks as bad as I thought they were going to. There was too much hype coming in. Sophomore slump is happening with Baker right now. It's all right if you're a Browns fan. Don't panic. You'll be okay. I said it 1,000 times in the offseason, and I'll continue to say 1,000 times during the season. Next year is going to be Cleveland's year. They're going to be a phenomenal team next year. But I think Freddie Kitch is in his first year. It's a lot to handle as a first-year head coach. Ask anyone in the NFL. I believe Sean McVay is like the only one to make the playoffs or whatnot the last like X amount of years. I don't know, but I don't like Cleveland fantasy at all.
Are we doing Jarvis Landry over Diggs or Thompson this week? I am not.
No.
Doing that. I have both of them more highly ranked than Landry. Actually, do I? No, I actually have Landry. No, I'm looking at Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I'm not starting
Nick Chubb over Stephon Diggs, but I don't have
Landry
Landry
over
Stephon
Chubb
Diggs.
over Stephon Diggs. Sure, if you're looking at a flex, like that's pretty good flex, but I don't have faith in it.
Yeah, Chubb and OBJ. That's all I'm touching on that offense right now.
Yeah.
Chris Thompson will outscore everyone besides OBJ in a Cleveland uniform.
Just in garbage time.
Just in garbage time with Dwayne Haskins.
That's it. Dump offs.
So that's been our show for this week. I know we moved it to Saturday instead of our regular time on 9 p.m. Wednesday Eastern, but we'll be back Wednesday as usual for next week. And this has been the Fantasy Rabbit Hole with CST Fantasy, Rich Carlton and Nick Faber.
Hey,
Signing off.
hey,
Let's
Carl.
do
Carl, one thing before you
one
do
thing. Go ahead.
One thing. I got 3 names. No context. 3 names. Paris Campbell, Devin Smith, Philip Dorsett. Do what you want with those names.
Next week we're introducing Carlton's new segment called Stay Woke Sleepers.
There you go.
This has been the Fantasy Rabbit Hole. Let's just listen to Carlton for 1 second before we sign off.
Jamarcus, can we make that a thing?